Hello and welcome back to the channel. This video is actually quite simple. It's going to help you understand what's on board the MSC Seashore and whether or not you should book it. A cruise is not going to be inexpensive, so we're going to try to help you save time and money, so stay tuned as I go through a complete review and tour of the ship. Once you get on board, the first place you want to go is to the top deck, and the reason why is because there's a sail away party. I thought the party was well done, it was classy, it wasn't too raunchy. So if you want to get started in the right mood, definitely recommend you go here. The next place we're going to talk about is the jungle pool, and the big thing here is that it has a retractable roof. That means it's available in all conditions, and as you can see on either side, there are whirlpools. I think kids and adults will enjoy the space. Beautifully decorated, well done, great job so far. The next place is the infinity pool. I want to call this the hidden pool. It's a whirlpool just for adults. It can hold as many as 20 guests, but the reality is you're gonna have to search for it because it's hard to find. Let's switch gears and talk about food. MSC has had problems with food delivery in the past. The food didn't taste good and it wasn't flavorful. It's just not very good. However, they have fixed that problem. The food on board tastes terrific. The only challenge that you're going to find is that the marketplace buffet is the only spot where you can really eat for free. So if you like eating all over the ship, you're going to have a problem with this vessel. We are now in the atrium. This is where you enter the ship from. If you look around, it is absolutely fantastic. The theme here is glass, metal, and things that are shiny. They had performances also in the atrium, and it's a wonderful interior space. The heart of the buffet is going to be a huge bar, but this right here is absolutely fantastic. It goes up, I believe, 4 floors. You cannot tell this by looking at the ship from the outside, but it does have a water park. It's called Pirates Cove. It's a fantastic water park. It has a huge bucket of water that dumps ever so often on the people below. Kids and adults love it. It's a great space, beautifully well done. So far, so very good. Let's now talk about entertainment. In the years, MSC entertainment was, I would describe it as flat. It was absolutely horrible. However, again, just like the food, they have come a long way when it comes to entertainment. The main place that you're going to find most of your entertainment is going to be in the auditorium, which isn't large enough to fit everybody all at the same time, even if you break it up into 2 shows. So that's a problem. But otherwise, it was a wonderful entertainment lineup. I've talked about a lot of things that they did right. Now here's something that I have a problem with. The pool and shuffleboard, you had to pay for it. It was about $2.50 per game, so it wasn't too much. However, in my opinion, it really should be free. Now let's talk about the rest of the ship when it comes to entertainment. Of course, I said earlier that the main show is going to be in the auditorium. That's where you're going to have most of your entertainment. However, throughout the entire day, your calendar, if you want, can be absolutely packed with things to do. That's because throughout the entire day, during my sailing at least, there were tons of things to do that were led and organized by members of the ship's crew. There were so many things to do on board while the ship was sailing that the biggest challenge you had is to try to figure out what you wanted to do, because if you did one thing, you're not going to be able to do others. So there were lots of things that were left on the table, and I think that's great because it gave entertainment options for kids and adults and people in between. There was just so much stuff to do that there was never a time that I was on board that I felt that I was bored or that I wanted to get off the ship because there was just nothing to do. There was just so much. It was a great job by MSC keeping the crew, keeping everybody on board busy and all the time entertained. They are teen and kids club on board, so it's a great opportunity to dump your kids off and have the crew take care of them. You do have to sign a waiver form, and there are hours that they operate, but it's a great option for parents who have young kids. If you don't want to utilize that free service, there's arcade on board, and they'll charge you $2.50 to $3 per game, but that's also an option well, and there's a pretty well-equipped arcade with 3D games. If after paying for this cruise, you still have money left over, MSC can fix that. There are retail opportunities available throughout the entire cruise. Most of the bargains come out on the last day, and they do a great white party, and they do dancing. It's very classy, not raunchy, well done. There is a sports court on board that is way too small. There's also bars, plenty of bars on board. So if you want to get the drink package, I recommend you get it before getting on board, because once you get on board, you're going to pay more money. based on the size of the ship. There are a sufficient number of pools on board. The largest is going to be this pool right here that you're looking at now. It's called the Long Island Pool. If you want a chair close to the pool, you have to get out pretty early for that. In my opinion, 7:30 seems to be the mark where people start to come out. By right 9-10 o'clock, pretty much all of the chairs are pretty much reserved. People put towels on them and use things to clip the towels to the chairs. So if you like looking at the pool, definitely get out early for that. In a moment, we're going to take a look at the cabin I stayed in, which had a balcony, which was wonderful. Now, people don't like me saying this, but MSC is a discount cruise line. Discount meaning that you get more than what you think you paid for. And I think most people who travel with MSC are going to find that they get a lot more bang for their buck than they would at other cruise lines like Carnival or Royal Caribbean. Also, they don't have to deal with all the raunchiness that maybe some of the other cruise lines. So in my opinion, yes, MSC I think is a good value. For what I paid to stay in MSC, I would pay maybe a third more if I were staying with one of the other cruise lines. So I do feel you get more for your money. And that's one of the things that I think MSC has started to realize, that they are making a lot of inroads into the cruise economy. Outside of the main buffet, the main place that you're going to spend most of your time eating is going to be right here. It's going to be the Central Park restaurant. Although it is not the only included restaurant on board, they have several that are spread out throughout the ship. But this place, in my opinion, serves exceptional food. You can have food that you pay for, but you can also eat what's on the menu. And the food, in my opinion, that's on the menu is really good. And I don't know that there's a need to go to the specialty restaurant unless you are having a specialty occasion or consider yourself a foodie. In a moment, I'm going to scroll through and show you quite a few other restaurants, and all of them are going to be included with your fare. The biggest difference is going to be decor. In other words, you'll go in one restaurant, it's included, and you'll see one decor. Another will look completely different. It'll have a different name. However, it's going to be pretty much the same food. So the exact same food that you'll get in your restaurant, that's the same food that they're going to serve in all these other restaurants. So oftentimes you feel you're missing out, but really it's just a grass greener kind of scenario where it looks different, it looks better, but really it's the same. Now let's talk about the staff service. I had a plan where I went to different restaurants and tried them out because I wanted to experience the different staff service and the ambience and environment. And they, in my opinion, when it comes to environment, they just look different. The food is the same. When it comes to staff service, it's going to be spotty. Sometimes you're going to have great service because of one person is just really good at their job. And then another time you're going to have really bad service. In my opinion, overall, everybody did a good job. I didn't think the service was lacking. It was timely and they catered to your wants and needs. So you can't ask for more than that. You can tell now that we're looking at specialty restaurants. What I mean by that is you have to pay for the meal in addition to your cruise fare. So these are not included with your fare. And in my opinion, they do a good job. They have Asian and different types of menu, Italian, you name it, steakhouse. So depending on what you like, you can go to these restaurants and they do a good job. In my opinion, the food at the specialty restaurants are better than the food that you'll find in the main buffet or in the dining room that's free and included. So if you like food, then I suggest you try some of these specialty restaurants, at least maybe once or twice. I was a big opponent not to try them, but then after trying a few of them, I realized that, you know what, this is certainly an option. This is coming from a guy who's fairly frugal, not cheap, I am frugal. A moment ago, you just saw the wine cellar. I've never seen anyone use it. Now we're into the adult only area. And this is one of the good things about being on board. This MSC is a family cruise ship, so there's gonna be lots of kids on board. However, if you want to avoid those little buggers, there's this area right here where you can go and you can have some type of serenity. I have lots of kids and they bring them with me, so I can understand wanting to get away. There is a gym and spa on board. The gym is absolutely beautiful. One of the most nicest looking gym I've ever seen on board a cruise ship. However, it's small. There's no limits to how you can use the cardio machines and there's no jogging track. So I felt that there was oftentimes a line to use the cardio equipment. So keep that in mind if you like to work out, especially in the mornings, it gets really busy. There is a spa also on board. You saw all the images just now. It's expensive. You know, you may save money on the cruise, but if you like this kind of stuff, all the money you save, you're gonna end up spending it right here because this stuff, in my opinion, is expensive. There is a well-equipped smoking casino on board, which in my opinion was never really full. There's also digital maps. These maps help you get around. I thought the map system was absolutely wonderful. It also It was interactive, so you can look up your schedule and events of things. There's also digital elevators, which everyone seemed to have a strong opinion about. Most people didn't like the elevators. You will be surprised how often you interact with your phone in a day, and there are digital phone plans available, which will cost you in one day as much as most people pay in an entire month. So it's going to be expensive if you want to go that route. The Seashore is in really good condition. That's because you'll find people walking all about cleaning it at all times of the day and night. Overall, I had a great time on board. MSC, the first time I sailed with it, was an absolute mess. And they have learned from all their mistakes and they have come a long way. This cruise, in my opinion, is one of the best values for the money. It was entertaining, the food was great. You really couldn't ask for any more. I had a wonderful time and I think you will too.